Wrestling with the Business is back this week with another exciting episode. Unfortunately, this week, it's just going to be me, the varsity athlete Jeremy Woodhead, and Matt, no gimmicks, Lambert this week. Dan is out, having his torn labia repaired. Dan, best of luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new episode of Wrestling with the Business. Dynamic duo here with you this week, maybe with a special guest in a little bit. Before we get on to our topics for discussion today, please like this video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, pile drive that notification bell so you get notified with all the content we put out on a regular basis, and then follow us on our social medias. They'll be in the links below.
Matt, I think I see 100 subscribers in the distance.
We're getting there. We're getting pretty damn close.
All right.
And we can only do that with your help. So let's get right into it. Our first topic of discussion here, a little bit of drama in the world of wrestling. So much drama, in fact, we had to bring in a special consultant.
Our drama consultant.
Absolutely. Why not? Producer Lily with us on the show today. Let's talk about the Hogans Know Best.
No, they clearly don't know best. They're actually quite a prime example of how not to raise a family, unfortunately. Hello, boys. My name is Lily, and I am your producer.
We know that. They don't know that.
They don't know that.
God?
Yes, also known as Jesus.
Whoa. Lowercase j.
That's fine. It's actually a G. So today there has been some scandalous activities going on the internet when it comes to Brooke's mother, Linda, who still goes by Hogan.
Of course.
So and isn't Hulk Hogan's actual last name not Hogan?
Bolea. Terry Bolea.
So why are they Hogans?
Gotta go with the gimmick.
Yeah,
Gotta get the name that makes the most money.
I hate
It's
that.
all gimmick, yeah. Hey, he might have actually. Did he actually change his name at one point?
I don't think so. It's like actors and actresses who have a stage name. I don't think it's...
Yeah. An alias, I guess you'd call it, right?
Yeah.
Gross. Well, okay, so to properly give you all the fresh, hot, piping, steaming tea, we do need to go all the way back to about 2005. I'm so sorry, but it has to happen.
When I was a young lad.
No, you weren't.
No, I wasn't.
When I was 15 years old, I loved watching Hogan Knows Best. It was a prime example of how much fun you can have if you are not only rich, but also in Florida.
Thank you, VH1.
Thank you, VH1. So Hogan Knows Best was a reality show of the family, Hulk Hogan, Linda Hogan, Brooke Hogan, and the brother.
Nick.
I'm assuming also Hogan. So it existed for about 4 seasons, and it was canceled in about 2008, 2009. Hulk and Linda got a divorce at just around the same time.
Right.
What a coinky dink. There was a massive scandal with Hulk Hogan. A couple of videos got leaked, and the videos were, one, him doing the disgusting Hulk Hogan deed with someone who I believe was not his wife. And then also him doing the disgusting deed of using his words about Brooke and who she dated and her music career and just disgusting things.
Yeah, so one clarification. That the woman is the wife of a famous DJ in Florida.
Right.
Commonly known as Bubba the Love Sponge.
And there was
He offered his wife.
There was assumption that the breaking down of the comments and the N-word drop, hard R, I'm sure. I don't remember, and I did not look it up because I don't need to. There were assumptions that both the sex tape and the N-word were the same video.
Right. Yeah.
But I believe from my research it was not the same video. 2 separate videos. So
well, yeah, wasn't the racial stuff like like just audio, like it wasn't a video, it was just an audio of him?
I believe
That sounds
so.
familiar.
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. So, but that could be incorrect. And it really doesn't matter at this point. Like, he's shown himself. Clearly. And this all happened on the site Gawker, which didn't exist for a while, but somehow came back.
Didn't he win a big lawsuit?
Yes, he did. He did win a big lawsuit, and it was supposed to be about $115 million paid to him, plus $25 million in punitive damages. But that did get talked down and settled down to $35 million.
Didn't Gawker go belly up from that?
Yes,
basically?
it did. Because what do you mean you're going to put a sex tape and that video on your website and then also lose in a jury trial?
Yep.
So yeah, they went bankrupt and they disappeared, but they did come back, I think, under a different umbrella of a company. So Gawker's back, y'all. Congratulations. And this even happened. So what the most surprising thing is, when you're 15 years old, you don't really like understand how time works. So like I was experiencing like the Britney Spears stuff, you know, her shaving her head and the umbrella and the paparazzi and all this stuff at the same time. And looking back at it now, it is absolutely shocking. Like, it is absolutely shocking what the internet was just super cool with putting on. And by the internet, it was like, the problem with the paparazzi in the early 2000s, the teens, it was you saw the people who were doing it. Now internet is the video's up. It's just there and it's everywhere.
Right, some guy on the street has his phone out and...
But now you have, but like back then you had people with, 30-pound cameras running, chasing, screaming. It's so freaking bizarre. So anywho, Hulk Hogan did actually get removed from the WWE Hall of Fame in 2015.
That was much later. I thought so.
Yeah, in 2015, when all of like the scandalous stuff was happening, but he did get reinstated because they just could not let the man go.
Yeah, he was out for like 3 years, something like that.
Why though?
I mean, why is Lance Armstrong special to bicycling? Why is Wayne Gretzky special to hockey? Why is Michael Jordan special to basketball?
Yeah, no one who's watched a single minute of wrestling knows who Hulk Hogan is and what he did for the wrestling business.
He was the first person to cross over from wrestling into the mainstream with movies and television and things like that. So,
but he's a bad dude.
That successful people often are.
Yeah, plenty of celebrities that are still loved.
Fair. And that also, I mean, it made me think like, okay, this is what Hulk Hogan got caught doing. What did all the other Hall of Famers not get caught doing?
Absolutely.
Especially in wrestling, which is not a very above board business.
No, not at all.
Historically, at least.
So all of that to say, the world that Brooke Hogan grew up in was, I don't want to say volatile, but not typical.
No.
There was a lot of money, there was a lot of energy, there was a lot of fame and fortune for not much. Everyone was sort of suckling off the teat of Mr. Hogan himself.
Oh, yeah.
And they were all doing their very best to get their own piece and sort of make their own. But Brooke was sort of stuck in between two adults who were actually children who were they just had money. They were just having so much fun. All they wanted to do was just play, and she just wanted to grow up.
Hogan was at TNA at that time, right? 05, 09, like wasn't that the...
Yeah, 08, 09, yeah.
08, 09. So he wasn't even really traveling, right? Because they were out of Orlando, right?
Yep.
At that time. So he was just driving an hour or two.
And Brooke was even there for a while, too, in charge of the women's division.
That's right, yeah. So it wasn't even like... the responsibilities were significantly decreased from a travel perspective.
Right.
Which is probably why they did the show to begin with.
Right. And just having cameras inside your home changes the dynamic of every single relationship that you have.
Yeah.
It changes the dynamic so immensely that you don't even know if your brother or your father or your mother actually care about you, what they're saying is true. Everything is, it's all planned. It's all fake. You're living a fake day in and day out, and you lose touch with reality while making a reality show.
Actually, hang on, one correction. Hogan was in TNA from 2010 to 2013.
Oh, even later.
Yeah.
Or how do they edit? how do they edit the video to make a stupid little thing, a conversation you had with your brother, look like this huge blow up that never even happened.
And then everyone's talking about it for the next week until the next episode comes out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not easy, and Brooke was a child. She was in high school. Like, she wasn't...
Yeah, I think she's like my age, right? 88? She was born in 88, I think.
Probably, yeah, probably. She was probably like 17, 18 during the show. And, like, she's not... Her brain is still going. It's still moving. Bones aren't finished growing. Like, this is a really important time in the life. And it's just... And it's on TV. And you're half naked. And you're in Florida. And...
Trying to make you a pop star.
That's right. She had a singing career.
Yes, she did. And we will get to that very soon. So now, current day drama broke when Linda Hogan decided to record a video of her, and they keep mentioning it on all of them, barefaced with Botox bruises, which I hate. Like the words crawl down my spine. So she posted this video crying, sobbing, paper towel to the eyeballs, but not dabbing any actual tears, that she hasn't spoken to Brooke in about 7 or 8 years, that Brooke got married and she didn't know, that Brooke had twins and she didn't know, which, congratulations, Brooke.
Yep.
That's really cool. If you want kids,
good for her.
You have kids, that's awesome. With your husband, cool, like they've been together for a while. They got married. I think he's an ex-NHLer. He's got a Stanley Cup.
Hockey player.
Stephen Oleksy. I'm sure I said that wrong. But super cool. He has been a fantastic supporter of Brooke through this as well, which we'll get to in a little bit. So yes, Brooke got married, had twins. She did not tell Linda or Hulk Hogan, her father, because... Why does she have to?
She didn't want to miss out on an opportunity to sell Great American beer for her dad?
Because,
that's unfortunate.
Because why did she have to? She didn't have to. There were boundaries in place, and the boundaries that she set were very clear. And if they were going to step over and break through those boundaries, then blocked. Period. Like, I don't understand why that's such an issue. Punishment can go both ways, even if you are the parent. And your child setting up a boundary for their own health and safety and comfort and ability to live the life that they want to live is not a punishment. But your punishment is not being there when your grandbabies are born.
Yeah, I'm guessing that they're financially independent with him being an NHL player and
I would assume
all that stuff.
She also
she has her own
is a
business.
designer as well.
Yeah.
She's got her own means.
Yeah, I mean, if you're collecting you're not collecting money from them anymore, then yeah, I mean, it's just like any other relationship. I mean, it's give and take. So,
and so this video went extremely viral very quickly, and of Linda crying and sobbing and snotting all over her own child online for some reason. My belief is that she might be looking for a little bit of a cash grab, as well as realizing that she's now entering her 70s, no contact with her daughter, or grandkids. It's not a good feeling, and I don't wish it on most people, but unfortunately,
and I think she tore up Hulk in that video too, saying
she did.
He's a liar and a sex addict.
Yeah. Which
didn't he just marry? Isn't she like 40 or something? The woman that Hogan just married?
Younger.
I'm sure.
Even younger than that?
I think.
Oh man, that's got to make Linda feel. She's got to be in some kind of way watching her husband marry some chick half his age. Meanwhile, she's stuck on her own, running out of money, no grandkids.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got to be in a bad place.
One of the biggest talking points of the divorce between Linda and Hulk Hogan was the what do they call it when you get divorced and you have to pay one partner alimony was like $40K a month. Could you imagine
$4.5 million
tax-free $40K a month?
Jesus. I mean, I don't know. I mean, in Clearwater, that you barely get by. You can barely get a hovel for $40K a month in Clearwater, you know?
No beach view there.
It really is inspirational. She's an inspiration for independent women everywhere, honestly.
So the way that Brooke has combated this online is with some text posts on Instagram and just the way that they are written, you can just tell how much she as a person has grown. I mean, the last time the majority of us has seen her was 2009.
Yeah, she was like 23 or something.
Yeah,
like
she was
at
a
least 10
child.
years.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, she's growing up, she's out of high school, moving on, boys and music and this and that. We saw that, and then honestly, she didn't stay in the limelight. I'm sure she has a following, that not taking that away from her in any way.
The mid to late 2000s, as far as wrestling goes, she was going to be starting a promotion with other famous wrestlers' daughters, a women's promotion, which fizzled out and went nowhere.
Yeah, she has a following for sure, but it was not, it didn't stay like a lot of the people who hope that when they make a reality show, their fame sort of stays at a level. But she definitely does have a fantastic following, and people are looking at this and they are just applauding, standing O's for the way Brooke is handling it. A little bit of it, let me just read just a little bit of it for y'all, because she made 3 different posts with a lot of pages of text.
This is how I found out about all this. My wife texted this to me because she's a big Brooke Hogan fan too.
So it starts with, I try very hard to ignore issues surrounding my family in hopes I might have peace in my life. Sadly, I've intentionally made myself smaller in my professional career in music and TV simply to dodge the public negativity surrounding my family that has continuously and relentlessly overshadowed anything I do. Just that alone just breaks my heart. No one deserves to be squash or feel like you have to be quiet and go sit in a corner because the people that were supposed to raise you are so just not good at being adults.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, and this is nothing against Brooke personally or whatever, but like, I mean, what would she have to do if she wanted to outshine her parents? Like, to outshine Hulk Hogan? Like, I guess you could become the next Mariah Carey or something if you were that good a singer or something. But it would be a fool's errand for you to even try to do that. So it sounds like she made the best decision. Like, just live your life, find happiness where you can get it, and move on, I guess.
It goes on to say, I will start by saying this video is mild compared to behavior I have witnessed for the greater portion of my life. And that again is extremely disappointing to have constantly experienced stuff like that. And to a more intense level that is abuse. Abuse does not have to be, oh, you have a black eye and you have bruises on your wrist. And I think that's a really big moment that's shining in the media right now, is that abuse is not only physical, and it can come in all shapes and sizes, and it has so many effects on just a person, let alone someone who is attempting to transition out of being a child to a young adult. And it lingers, and it can resurface in any moment. And having this be how Brooke sort of re-enters like the big limelight of like the TMZ worlds is unfair to her, and it sucks.
Can I come at let me come at her for a minute here.
Come at her.
Why didn't she just say nothing? Why didn't she just, if she wants quiet, if she wants to be like, within 36 hours, this will have fallen off a cliff. Nobody'd be talking about it. 36-hour news cycle. I mean, if she really wanted to be quiet, why wouldn't she just be like, yeah, my mom's crazy, and I'm not going to say anything, not going to release any statements? I mean, why did she feel like she had to do that?
I mean, she's still her mom.
I guess I can't help thinking that maybe she felt like she needed to defend herself. But
this is probably the first time she's actually been able to defend herself in a stable home with stable support, knowing that she can write this out. I'm sure, I don't want to make any claims that I can't back up, but I'm sure she had some PR assistance in writing this.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
But I mean, she easily could have not. Also, I mean, because there's a lot of them.
I wouldn't. If I thought my mom was being disingenuous and ridiculous, and she was just trying to get attention, the last thing I'd want to do is feed into that attention by extending it into a 72-hour or a 96-hour.
That's one of the things
cycle.
that Brooke later posted a picture disproving that what her mom was saying, that they had been in contact within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Pictures or something like that.
It feels defensive, I guess, and not coming after Brooke or whatever, because it sounds like she's doing the best she can. I would just love to hear her explanation for why she didn't just let her mom scream into the darkness and a couple of articles get written, and then that's that, you know.
Sounds to me like her mom needs some professional help, for sure.
She's in a really bad place.
Yes, that was the first thing that I thought when I saw the video. It's like an alert came through, and I watched the video. I'm like, this woman needs help. She needs to talk to someone ASAP. There was, and it's really it was an uncomfortable video to watch on many levels, but it's not easy to see someone going through what just on like the very cusp seems like some sort of like manic moment, you know, like not diagnosing her or anything, but it felt very manic. It felt out of the blue. Like what has led up to this? What has she been doing? What has she been talking about? Like who's she been talking to? Like what led her to this moment of like full breakdown on Instagram, paper towel ready, you know,
posting the biggest L of your life.
Right.
It's been nearly 20 years since the divorce, and she still hasn't gotten over it, for lack of a better term.
It's just like, this is you publicly going out and saying, I'm a failure. My life is a failure. I failed. It's either a cry for help or you're mentally effed up. Like, or both, I guess.
And either way, it's uncomfortable. And I think that, I mean, if it was me, I probably too would post a bunch of screenshots of my notes app saying why I'm not talking or I haven't talked to this person. You know, like she probably feels that the people deserve to know, the people that have supported her, that have been there, that have, you know, that knew she was pregnant, you know, or the people who, you know, her friends, her business, you know, she needs to put herself where the truth is. And this is the truth of her saying, look, I have been through this forever, and I drew the line, and I closed the door, and I locked it, and I threw away the key, and here is why. You know, don't let these crocodile tears fool you. We gave them chances. We said, you can do this but they couldn't. So here we are. You know, like, I have to go on. I have to pay the mortgage. I have to raise my kids. I have to be a wife. I have to be a friend. I have to be a CEO. And I'm not going to sit here and let someone say all this trash about me and how I'm a bad kid because I didn't give my mommy what she wanted. I probably too would sit on Instagram and type out everything and be like, there it is, moving on.
Has Hulk said or done anything in regards to?
His only response so far has been to make a video of him and his new wife in a restaurant just eating popcorn, watching the drama.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
And actually, I just read, as of like the last 12 hours, Brooke's husband has been trying to reach out and foster some sort of peace, reached out directly to Hulk and gotten no response too.
Man, you got to feel bad for him in this situation. Whoa. Yeah. I mean, he didn't play any part in any of this, you know? Like, they probably were long gone by the time he even really entered the picture, you know? And most of her trauma had already been well ingrained, all those negative experiences. She probably had a lot of her independence, and now he's trying to take chicken shit and make chicken salad out of it. I mean, that's a tough. And he's playing what is it, 80-game season in the NHL? Like,
if he still plays, I don't know if he does.
He might be retired, but if he doesn't, I'm sure he's still involved, you know. And I mean, that's just, wow.
Yeah. There is, he posted on Instagram as well, and he said, while there is little need to defend the character of my wife or myself, I feel compelled to acknowledge and validate the outpouring of support we've received over the past few days. My wife's post was not a plea for attention, sympathy, or even support. It was simply a response to the false claims that had been made about her, and she hadn't seen or spoken to her mother in 8 years, that her mother had never met me, that we did not attend her father's wedding because of work, and a number of other things that fall well short of the truth. I cannot stand by and allow anyone to continue to hurt not only the most amazing person I am fortunate enough to call my wife, but also the distorted sense of power and relevance the media can sometimes grant individuals. So a fantastic and extremely supportive, beautiful, lovely post, you know, on behalf of his wife, on behalf of the mother of his children. He is not going to falter in this either. You know, her boundaries are his boundaries. And I think it's bold and strong of him to reach out to Hulk Hogan and say, hey, let's shake some hands. Let's have a chat. Let's see what we can do. But at the same time, I would make sure that that's exactly 100% what Brooke would want.
Yeah.
Because if it's not what she would want or does want or might change her mind on, then, you know, it is what it is.
Couldn't hurt. I mean, her and her stepmom are going to have a lot to talk about. They're almost the same age.
Oh my
so
God.
they probably watch the same cartoons.
Talking about someone being with someone who is also Brooke's age, Linda.
No way.
Linda,
Shut your mouth.
Back then, so back
Yeah,
when
that was a
Linda
while
was
ago, I think.
48 years old, during,
jeez.
I think it was like at the very end or the middle. I think it was on the show, or like right after the show. She dated 48 years old after the divorce or whatever. She was dating a 19-year-old
I remember
kid
hearing
who
about
went
that.
to high school with Brooke. So this is the example of how she has always been. And before we finish off, I just want to make it clear that Brooke has been talking about this for a long time, and just we haven't heard her. We were listening to the songs and the cute little videos and all that stuff, but we did not hear her. She has a song called Dear Mom, and that came out, I believe, like 2009. And the lyrics, verse 1, how could you turn your back on me? Now I'm walking out. Verse 2, but if you're leaving, is that what you can do to your baby? Because I'm going to love you no matter what we're saying. How could you turn away and forget those sunny days? But were they the sunny days, or was it the game you played? Perfect little doll that you can toy with that messed up. How can you be criticizing me when you effed up? I never made you cry. I never told you lies. That's all you do to me. So what is your alibi? That was her song from 2009.
Wonder who she's talking about.
Probably a different mom.
For sure.
I can imagine people like, Brooke, is that about me? No, different mom. Different mom.
She has, I mean, this was her life, and this was her moment to say, in response to all of the eyeballs on Linda and her Botox bruises, that, look, I've been there. This isn't new, and it sucks and is annoying.
You know, I mean, that definitely is a cry for help, but I have to say, I mean, that was 2009. I mean, you're putting that up against Eminem's relationship with his mother, and let's be honest, if he hasn't, she hasn't skull fucked a voodoo doll that's made in the shape of her mother or something, or, you know, wrote an entire song about how he needs to brutally murder his girlfriend or whatever. I mean, it's kind of hard to stand up against that. So
Yeah, no, this song went absolutely nowhere.
it was a trend. Although hindsight's 2020. So
Yeah, you know, and I'm sure it's fantastic. I have no doubt about that. But I just, you know, all I can do is wish Brooke the best with her new babies and her husband, and that she is, if she needs to go see a therapist, if she needs to talk to somebody, I hope she can. I hope she does. And I know that Linda needs to, she also needs to see someone. For sure.
72-hour hold might not be
because this is
terrible idea.
This is not how you act as an almost 70-year-old woman who is suffering the consequences of your own actions.
No, I mean, at this point, she'd need to upgrade to what, a 39-year-old man, probably?
Okay. All right, that's it. We're leaving now. Thank you. Got out.
Thanks, Lily.
Thank you, Lily, for that update.
Yeah, lots of drama happening. Just comment down below. Let us know what you think about this whole...
We need to do this again. Next time there's more real-world drama or whatever, we need to get Lily on here. She knows what the hell she's talking about. So.
Absolutely.
Sick.
After that bit of drama, let's go on to another smaller bit of drama. I don't think
you should call him small. I don't think you should call him small.
Wait, where's the finger puppet?
Yeah, I was just going for it.
Jeez.
Hang on. I'm going to get it.
Okay, we got to bring him out because it's coming to the time where we have to say goodbye to... Goldberg. Yes, Bill Goldberg looking to retire in 2025. He posted this week that he's training for his final match. Doesn't say when, doesn't say where, but sometime this year will be the last time we see Goldberg for now.
I am going to make a couple bold predictions here
Okay.
because that's what this stuff is for.
First, is it going to be in Saudi?
I'm going to make an even more bold prediction than that.
Okay.
I think there's a really good chance that it's not even with WWE.
I was thinking that too.
I think maybe he goes to some big indie show, maybe AEW All In in Texas, or maybe he even like goes to Japan and does some Tokyo Dome type thing.
Ooh, I don't know.
That's out there.
Yeah, I don't know about
that's
that.
not more likely than WWE. Let me make that clear. But I think there's a really good chance that he could. I mean, he wasn't ever a really great wrestler. He looked like he was in great shape and he was really strong.
Oh,
but
he didn't look it. He was in great
he's
shape.
60 now. How old is he now? Well past
he's
retirement age.
He's probably late 50s.
Yeah, I mean, he's pushing 60. If he's over 55.
Hold 1 second. Let me find out.
But I think it's my two votes are either Saudi Arabia is probably most likely.
58.
Okay. Saudi Arabia is probably most likely, but then next most likely, I think not too far behind would be, I mean, Tony Khan would give him anything he wanted.
Yeah.
And WWE, they don't really need it. I mean, think about it. I mean, last I checked, All In Texas tickets were not selling out to the gills. And if he's not going to wait, I mean, this is the kind of thing, listen, you don't do a Goldberg retirement match at Survivor Series. You don't even do it at SummerSlam, in my opinion. Goldberg retirement match, that's a WrestleMania event. So if he's not going to wait until next WrestleMania, Saudi Arabia would throw enough money at it that it might convince Goldberg to do it. It's going to be a huge venue. There's going to be 11 bajillion people there. So he's going to get the crowd that he wants. He's going to get the response that he wants. But outside of that, you got to go to All In. That's how you put 60,000, 70,000 butts in seats, is you get Goldberg's retirement match, and you make it good. And I mean, who would you put him up against?
That's what I was just going to ask. Who's it going to be?
Who could? I mean, Roman Reigns.
It can't be a normal Goldberg squash. It has to be against somebody with a name.
And is he going to go over?
I think that's the thing now. I think the last few years, wrestlers retiring, except for Kurt Angle. He lost his retirement match.
I mean, you're supposed to, you know?
You're supposed to, yeah.
Sting went over, but it was a tag, so I don't know. I give him a little bit more leeway on that. And I think he didn't get the pin either, right? It was Darby that got the pin.
I also don't remember now.
I think it was Darby that got the pin.
I think Goldberg will win his last match, and I think it's not going to be against a top guy, but it's going to be against a guy with a name.
I mean, who I mean, it would have to be somebody big. Mm-hmm. You're not going to put him up against, to be obnoxious, Rey Mysterio here. So it's got to be like a Roman Reigns, a Seth Rollins.
If it's Roman Reigns will beat him.
Like, I don't think even like Drew McIntyre.
Yeah,
he's not big enough.
So earlier this year, he was trying to push something with Gunther.
Right, but I don't think Gunther's big enough. He just got the championship. He's holding on to it, but he's not there yet.
If Gunther were to beat him, that would raise his stock for sure.
Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Lesnar. If you want to bring Brock back, if you want to lick your finger and put it up and see where things are with Brock Lesnar, what do? You send him over to Saudi Arabia in front of a friendly crowd. They're like, what? He did what to a woman? Oh, we support that.
What about a Triple H?
Isn't he like 100% like, I've got heart issues and I'm not coming back? That was...
I don't know if it was 100%, but I forgot about the health issues.
He was like out. It wasn't even like a fused spine situation. It was like a heart surgery type situation. True. So that's a little... I think Stephanie is very against him.
All the names we're mentioning, none of them are AEW names, so...
Well, okay, so we'll know. So on the AEW side, like if he was going to do an all-in thing, I mean... I can't think of... Well, Cope.
Yep. Could be Copeland.
They kind of came up at the same time.
Or even a Christian. Christian, that would be more of a squash, though.
Yeah, I don't know if you could make Christian into a good match, Or, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Tony threw like Jericho in there or something.
Ooh.
Just an old name. Just somebody.
Yep, Jericho.
He was in WCW at the same time.
They've had real beef in the past.
They go back a really long ways. I mean, but Jericho's not in great shape. Like, Jericho would have to work his ass off to make that count. So I think that if I'm Tony Khan, I'm throwing millions of dollars at it. I would at least try and match Saudi's offer, but I don't have the same kind of depth of talent and name recognition that if I'm Goldberg and I have a chance to go over Brock Lesnar, but then who goes over if he goes against a guy like Brock Lesnar? Brock's not going to want to take the fall, and Goldberg's not going to want
to be WrestleMania 20 all over.
Yeah, you get too many big heads not worrying about the story, and neither one of them really have to give a shit about the story because none of them are involved. So there isn't even this whole conversation about like, what's considered canon and what isn't. The whole conversation has been like, well, it's in Saudi Arabia, it's outside of canon, it doesn't really count. Well, these are two guys that really aren't within the canon. It's a chance to do whatever you want. I can't see Lesnar. But Reigns would lay down for Goldberg. Now, maybe they don't want to write it that way.
That would...
But he would do it. He's a company man, and if Triple H said, hey, man, we're going to put Goldberg over, he'd be like, yes, sir. Same thing with
I think
Rollins.
if it's Reigns, though, then Goldberg would lose. Lose his retirement
and
match.
I think that would be a good thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's the old school way to do it.
But we'll know within a month or two, I think. But I don't know, man. It just seems like such a waste going to Saudi. It seems like, you know what this seems like? A slightly less tacky Hogan style money grab. He's just going there to make $10 million in a single night's work or whatever crazy amount of money the Prince is going to throw.
Maybe he'll face Nick Nemeth again and squash him a few times. I don't know. We'll see. Let us know what you think. Who's Goldberg's final match going to be against, and is he winning? Is he losing?
And where?
Let us know. All right. Rest of the show is fully dedicated to AEW because Dan's not here, so fuck him. All right, we're always talking about AEW's ratings, what they can do to improve. Their storytelling always needs improvement, but turns out since streaming on Max, they've seemingly doubled their viewership. Nearly 500,000 additional views thanks to their streaming on Max. They're hitting over 1 million now with those numbers.
They're pulling what, mid sixes on
they're
television?
around 1 million, 1.2 total between TV and Max.
I guess the first question is, do you believe it? Do you believe 500,000? I mean, why would they lie?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's something that can be fairly easy to disprove.
I mean, if you're going to lie, say it's 1 million.
It might just be an average or an estimate or whatnot, but that's what's being reported.
They might do the
500,000.
same. Well, I would imagine that there's an industry standard where they take the length of the show, total minutes watched, divide it out, and
I mean, streaming numbers in general are generally hard to prove and hard to quantify and whatnot. So,
do you watch on Max?
I still watch on Sling because last I saw on Max, they don't do picture-in-picture.
Yes.
Which they shouldn't be doing. They're actually doing actual commercials that are on TV, which is crazy to me because they still record the picture-in-picture. They still do commentary during the picture-in-picture. So I don't know why Max isn't just showing 100% no ads. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I still watch it on Sling.
Well, I hear you. I can understand if it's going to be a simulcast, why you would have it be the same thing, but why wouldn't that include picture-in-picture? That's what blows me away. Like, fine, have the commercials because it's a simulcast and you can help with your advertising, get your advertising numbers up and stuff like that. Honestly, when I watch it on replay, I just fast forward through those anyways. So I don't even really watch them, but because typically I'm not watching it live.
Because early on when Dynamite was on, when it first started, 2019, 2020, I had to bootleg it because I didn't have Sling or nothing else. And the bootlegs, the commentary would continue because it was for international, so there were no commercials. And that was freaking phenomenal. I loved that. So that's what I was expecting for Max, and I haven't. That might have changed now. I haven't checked in a while. I just watch it on Sling out of habit at this point.
I mean, let's say they're pulling 1.1, 1.2 roughly, give or take, between the two of them. I mean, that's a hell of a lot better than.
That's what they were getting in the beginning. That was their peak.
Are they really? I guess here's what I'm questioning. it must be that they open themselves up to a new market of people, right? Like for years, I've been arguing with Dan about how like nobody has television anymore. Everybody's streaming. You have to get on the streaming platform because it opens up this brand new base of people that said F it to television and F it to cable, and they sent that away, and they just were like, I'm just going to live without it, and I'm going to watch all the great clips on my phone or on my computer, on YouTube, whatever.
10 minutes or less.
15 minutes after, whatever it is, and I'm going to cut out all the crap. I mean, if they're actually pulling in 1.1, 1.2, that means the days of them being like this with NXT, gone. I mean, they're blowing NXT, I mean, have they ever broken 1 million? I've seen a couple.
They got close. Yeah, I don't think they broke
when
a mill.
like The Rock came on and they were like,
on their first episode,
they were trying to juice their numbers because they were renegotiating contracts, and I think they were trying to.
But yeah, since they've been on CW, I don't think they have.
There was like that 1 month a year or two ago where it just seemed like every week they had a main roster star on there to try to drive. I think it was back when Dirty Dom was the international champ or the North American champion or whatever. You know, they were really trying to push the numbers. So, I mean, if they are pulling 1.2, I mean, isn't SmackDown pulling like 1.4 right now? 1.5? I mean, they're nipping at SmackDown's heels. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm biased because it sort of reinforces what I've been saying this whole time, which is like, they are actually doing well, even though everybody's talking them down because they're sort of being measured against this ridiculous standard that is WWE. And, you know, it's, of course you're going to look short when you're standing next to the great Khalid, even though you're 6'4", you know what I mean? But they're doing very well in comparison to where WWE was 5 or 6 years.
And again, they're only 5+ years, nearly 6 years old now. Yeah. That's pretty darn good for a 6-year-old company.
This will be their third All In. This will be their third WrestleMania, right? So it's like, yeah, I think we really need to just be realistic. And if they're pulling over 1 million viewers consistently, which they have, then hey, I mean that plays very well to them. But it looks like there might be some news on the horizon that might make us question that.
So to go along with that, we talked about a week or two ago about Collision splitting up into 2 one-hour shows around the NBA or NCAA playoffs. And they aired 1 hour on Saturday, 1 hour on Sunday. I think that was just this past week. But they're still looking to experiment with some stuff during the NHL playoffs. Andrew Zarian reporting from Beyond the Bell that they're experimenting. It could involve a 4-hour special. They haven't decided what exactly it's going to be. It could just be an episode of Dynamite followed immediately by an episode of Collision. Could be 1 4-hour long, I don't know, TV pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it. It's still up in the air if it's going to happen or not, but they're talking about it, and Warner is fully supporting experimenting with these types of new broadcasting.
4 hours is a long time.
It's a pay-per-view.
It's a WWE pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Their pay-per-views are really long. I think experimenting is good. I'm not sure that I'd be experimenting in this direction. I think Turner's all over it just because my guess is that they're not going to get charged extra for it. So they're willing to try anything to get content on the screen. And if Tony Khan comes to them and says, we want to do this or we want to do that, they're not going to say no to additional content. I don't know. It feels a little bit like I keep looking at these like the one they're doing this week. They're going to Boston in a couple of weeks. And they're going to do like
the spring break
slam or something, whatever they call
it. Yeah.
Like every once in a while, it seems like every time they go to Boston, actually, they do something like that. Didn't they do it when Mercedes Moné was coming on board? What was that called? I
don't remember.
Bank on it or something, Mo Money or something like that. I don't remember what it's called.
We're just pulling shit out of our ass right now.
But it was something CEO themed because we all knew she was going to make her premiere there. And, it just seems like you're focusing on the wrong thing. Like instead of just focusing on the basics, like hitting, catching, like providing a good story, good quality product, keeping your people healthy, making sure that the sound is good and the crowds are filled, like you're picking the right size stadiums and stuff like that to fit your product, and just like consistently having good bookings and good matches and no botches, instead of focusing on like the basic stuff, it's like they're like focusing on like the curtains and like making sure the carpet's like the right color. And it's like, but do you have a good foundation? Like, you know, are you trying to knock down a load-bearing wall? Like, and it just...
We're gonna have Leatherface make a run-in on this hardcore match.
It's kind of like the Grand Slam Australia thing. It's like that, you know, they lost focus on just having a good basic story, basic matches, just your basic run the Universal, like just learn the basics and maintain it. And instead they went halfway across the world, and there was this crap about the ring and crap about the tickets and crap about changing the venue. And it all just, the whole thing became a botch. And I'm concerned that they're going to end up being put in this position where in order to jump through these hoops to make Turner happy, they're going to end up, you know, biting off more than they can chew. And yeah, it's going to look fancy, and yeah, it's really cool that they're going to be in this neat location and all this stuff, but every match is going to be bullshit, and I'm going to be bored in the first hour and a half, and then everybody's going to turn their televisions off, and it's just going to make the product weaker overall.
Well, we'll have to see if these new experiments are going to help with their ratings or not, or if they're just going to rely on Max. We'll have to
4
see.
hours, I mean, if you can maintain an audience of over 1 million for 4 hours...
Turn that into pay-per-view buys.
I don't think WWE could do that, so...
We'll see.
Dynasty, this Sunday, April 6th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I
Coming
wonder
up
if
this
any
week.
ECW guys will be there.
I'd be willing to bet we can find some Twitter postings of, old timers hanging around.
Rhino just left TNA.
We could see some interesting appearances there. But besides the appearances that we may see behind the scenes, let's talk about what's currently on the ticket. And, of course, as we're recording this, it's Wednesday, April 2nd. So I'm guessing that on tonight's Dynamite, and maybe even as late as Collision on Saturday, we might have a couple more. Right now the card is only showing 6, which is a little light. I would expect that for the $50 they're going to charge, it's going to be a significantly larger card.
Main show is usually 9 to 10 matches, and then 3 on the pre-show.
Sometimes 2 or 3, yeah. Which is a little obnoxious. We can take the pre-show down a little bit, maybe to 1. So let's just run through the matches here and see what we've got. So, first up, top of the card, this is going to be the main event. Jon Moxley, the current world champion, going up against Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana in a basic singles match for AEW World Championship. I wonder if they're not making the same mistake that they made last time with Cope. You're just calling it a basic singles match. I mean, does Moxley hang on to the title here? I mean, are we going to see the title ever again?
I think he's going to keep it until Darby comes back. Darby's going to be the one to beat him whenever that is.
I can't wait till...
I think they're just in a holding pattern until Darby comes back.
Somebody's going to write a book about it where they like totally redesign the championship, and it's just been on order for the last 3 months. And that's something happened to the
it's still on back order.
Yeah, they're like, belt's in the mail, man. Belt's in the mail.
Says
it's
it's
like,
shipped, but there's no tracking.
Darn it, we shouldn't have ordered our belt from Iran. That happens every time, you know? We need to stop ordering from those third world oppressive dictatorships.
I think this is the first in a series of matches, just like with Cope. Yeah, they're just doing the same thing over and over again.
Not a lot of intensity. I mean, Moxley's looking into the camera. I guess the really interesting question here is they're not calling for any kind of hardcore, but how do we not see blood in a match between these two? I mean, we're going to see.
And there's going to be interference.
Blood, right?
We already know what's going to happen.
Timeless Tony Storm, the champion with Luther, going up against Megan Bayne. There's been a lot of story sort of involved in this. Megan Bayne is kind of the up-and-coming. She's got that Athena Viking look, that Charlotte Flair look. They've really sold her as a tough gal.
She has the small Penelope Ford backing her up, so that's
she's
good.
got Penelope. She does a decent job working a heel angle. I think she could use some work on the mic, but... obviously, Toni Storm's probably the best all-around woman working in the business right now, I think. Does Toni hang on to the championship?
I think so. I think it's too early for Bayne.
How does she do it? Are they really going to... Because they've put Bayne over pretty hard. It's going to be hard in a one-on-one.
She's going to do a quick roll-up, or Penelope's going to interfere and, misfire or something. I don't know.
Bayne and Timeless... to me, works better in the heel gimmick than the face gimmick. It comes off as kind of campy, and she plays to the crowd a little well. She's much better as a dark heel, and you can't play against Bane. But I think you could do the work and make Bane Statlander look really good for an all-in match.
They've already done it.
I know, but they needed it. They should have done it differently. They should have stretched it out. And yeah, that's how they kind of brought Bane in or whatever, was against Statlander. But I think they made some mistakes there. Yeah, I agree with you. This is probably, in my mind,
this is going to be your favorite.
Yeah. Omega versus Ricochet versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Speedball needs some work on the mic. I didn't like his angle. This is basically two faces and a heel getting together to have a match. It's going to be a very technically sound match.
A very flippy acrobatic match.
I think there's a chance they give Speedball the belt on this one.
Really? I think I think it's more likely Ricochet over Speedball, but I think Kenny's going to keep it.
Well, they do, and I'm just looking right now. I guess it's pretty evenly split. The Death Riders have the Trios Championship. Moxley's got the World Championship. Tony Storm's. So it's kind of pretty evenly matched, I guess, face heel.
I think Kenny's going to keep it for a bit longer.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it'll be a really good match. I wish that they had another fun stipulation. You know, these three guys are so talented. They're still young and young enough. And they've worked together on the indie circuit so many times. I would just love to see a fun stipulation. Well, I don't know what it would be, but
it's a triple threat, so it's automatically no DQ.
Even if it's just a cage match or something, yeah. But none of these guys are gonna do. None of these guys are
Ricochet
gonna get a lot of color or anything like that.
No, not like that. But Ricochet will cheat. He'll get a chair in there or something.
He might, but then I just think that they could have done something to make it a little more interesting. But
sure.
Not a lot
they
of
can
heat
always do something
one.
To make it more interesting.
Yeah, but they've had a lot of time on this one. There was a whole bit when they did the whole tournament, people should have been calling out Kenny. He should have been there more, present at ringside. There should have been some back and forth between him and people on the ring. People should be getting underneath Kenny's skin and stuff by doing things to bother him. I feel like there's a way through a tournament to actually build heat so that whoever actually ends up. The only clever thing they did was the finish when you got Ricochet and Speedball pinning.
I think you disagree with most of the internet.
What's his name? Davis? Was it Mark
Davis?
Both pinning Mark Davis at the same time.
I think the majority of the internet hated that finish.
I mean, I think it worked with the story. I think they didn't like it because it wasn't a clean finish. But I think it worked with the story. Ricochet's heel. He held his foot on the rope. Speedball's naive and new and stupid, and so he wasn't paying any attention.
Yeah, but the ref is an idiot for naming both of them winners.
The ref. They should have had, if they were going to do something stupid like that, they needed to have like Tony Khan come out or something and do that and be like, yeah, it's not the rules, but I'm changing it anyways. Yeah, giving the ref that kind of power was ridiculous. No ref should have that kind of power. No ref. All right, match 4: Death Riders. Castagnoli, Pack, and Wheeler Yuta, who is taking a break from his medical studies, against Rated FTR, Cope, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood. I don't think the belts change hands here.
Nope.
In this one,
they're telling a story of Dax Harwood splitting off.
And that's right. They had him in a singles match.
Breaking up FTR, that seems strange to me. But
I kind of get the feeling that they're kind of doing away with their tag team division here.
This is leading to both of them turning heel and becoming a heel team again.
That could happen, but
Cash ends up siding with Dax.
To me, it seems like the wind is blowing in a different direction, and it's blowing in the direction of no more tag team division. We just give the belts to the stables. Because right now, the Hurt Syndicate is holding
the tag titles.
Who knows if Sheldon Benjamin joins them? Then they'll officially... Cedric Alexander, right. Sheldon Benjamin's already there. Cedric Alexander joins them. Then they'll officially be a stable or whatever. And I can just... it takes a lot. It's hard. It's hard to maintain a good tag team division. We haven't seen the Young Bucks in forever. Mm-hmm. We got the Outrunners, who are very dynamic and interesting, but they were just shot down at the last pay-per-view. And then we got a bunch of sort of patched together teams, like what's going on with this Rated FTR.
You got Private Party, you got Top Flight. They're just not teams that have been built up enough.
Yeah, they can't hold them. It's hard on 4 hours a week to keep a legitimate tag team division together. It's hard. It's just not enough time. You got to have 2 or 3 matches a week in order to keep the division together. You got to have 2 to 3 mid-card matches every week. And the card fills up quick with that kind of talent. It's hard to do. You have to really be dedicated to it. WCW was the last company that actually...
Well, we might be having an upcoming video where we do some AEW booking, so maybe we can change that. Tease.
All right.
Tease.
Jericho versus Bandito in a title versus mask
For the ROH World Championship.
for the ROH World Championship.
This is going to be a title change. Bandito's winning.
There's no way they're taking the mask off Bandito. That would be such... Although I guess if they wanted to match WCW's stupidity, they could do that, right? I mean...
Yeah, just ask Hoovy. Just ask Psychosis.
Just ask Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio. That's right.
That was the one I was thinking of. Hoovy was not the first on my list. And they've already sold him trying to pull the mask off like a gajillion times, so it's a bad sell. Thank God the title's coming off of Jericho. Hey, Jericho, maybe take a break, lift some weights, go on a diet so that when you come back at All In, it's actually worth watching.
So that you can face Goldberg and get killed.
So that it's actually worth watching. Listen, I would pay to watch Goldberg kill him.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't fly to Texas for it, but I'd go to Albany. Last match currently announced... Daniel Garcia, who's currently holding the AEW TNT Championship, versus Adam Cole. This is going to be a very good match.
Mm-hmm. They're taking out the time limit because that's how the last match ended, time limit draw, and no outside interference, so we should get a proper finish this time.
This will probably be as good, maybe even better than the Omega Ricochet and Mike Bailey 3-way. Yep. But again, there's some story missing. There's some intensity that's missing there for me. This
is the third match?
I think this is the rubber match, yeah. Garcia's interesting. He's not really heel.
I think he's turning heel.
He's not really face. Same thing with Adam Cole. He's not a good guy.
Adam Cole's a heel or a babyface for sure.
Yeah, but he's, I don't know. Undisputed, I guess, I see more as a heel faction, although they are working a face angle.
They should be heels.
They should be heel. That's what I look at them and I go, you shouldn't be what you are.
Right. But Adam Cole is definitely working a babyface. Daniel Garcia is the one that's kind of teetering right now.
But the crowd likes him. The crowd cheers. So he's not getting over. He's not going after the crowd the way that you have to. Like, you have to make the crowd hate you. You've got to do the work. And there aren't too many heels. And that's one thing I give MJF a lot of credit for. How is MJF not on this card? Like,
well, not yet.
Well, right, but like, why do you wait? If you're trying to sell tickets and MJF is your main man, I understand, okay, the champion has to be on the card first and Swerve, okay. But how do you not put MJF on the card, like one of the first matches you announced to try to put butts in seats? Why would you wait the week of?
He's in a story now with the Hurt Syndicate, so there's not really a place for him just yet.
Fine, then put him in there with Bobby Lashley or something in a grudge match or something.
Yeah, that's just a throwaway match.
But he puts butts in seats, though. You don't want people thinking, if this was going to be held an hour or 2 hours away from me, I wouldn't buy a ticket if I knew MJF
Hang on,
wasn't
we didn't
say
what's happening with the TNT match. Who's winning? We just jumped right into MJF.
I guess it's because I don't really care, but I think Garcia keeps it.
All right, I'm going to say Cole.
Yeah, I think you're just going to say the opposite of what I say? If
Yes.
I said Cole, you'd say Garcia?
Yes.
See, you don't care either. This is what I'm talking about. This is a problem. We should give a shit. We should give a shit about this. I just think in bigger picture, ticket sales have been something that AEW has been ragged on for a long time about it. You got to put your best foot forward. Even if you know, like, nothing huge is going to happen. It's not like some strange Black Swan event is going to occur tonight that's going to be like, oh my God, this person appeared out of nowhere and now all of a sudden hates MJF and they're going to have a match about it next week or this Sunday or whatever. So it's like, you know who it's going to be. Just announce it, because I'm not going to any pay-per-view. I mean, unless he's injured or something. But if he's on the card and if he's not on the card and he's healthy on the lineup, I'm not buying a ticket. I'm not buying a ticket. And I think there's a lot of people that are like me. They're like, nah, I don't think so.
So you're not buying the pay-per-view this week?
I won't buy the pay-per-view if he's not on the card.
Of course, when it's your turn to buy, you won't get it. Always leave it to me to get.
Are you going to get it?
No.
Yeah, you didn't get the last one either. If I can't mooch off you, what good are you? Anyways, if he's not, there's no way I'm going to get it if he's not on the card. But honestly, I mean, is this card worth $50? No, this card isn't worth. I don't know if I would pay $50 to go and see this live. maybe I'd pay $50, but I wouldn't pay more than $100. So that's a bad sign. Anyway, let us know what you think down below. Who needs to be added to this card? They need at least one more women's match. The fact that they've only announced one women's match is
that
totally
was the
absurd
one.
to me.
Mercedes versus Athena, Ring of Honor world champion.
Oh, right.
They're setting that up.
They're
I think that'll
up.
be added.
Yeah, again.
Title versus title.
2 women, 5 belts between them.
Jesus.
Give me a break.
And I think Athena has her own custom belt too, so she carries 2.
I will say this. I will give a little bit of credit at the end here. At least Monet is like wrestling on a regular basis now. She's actually wrestled the last, 2 out of 3 weeks or something. So at least they're actually getting their money's worth out of her instead of just having her cut a couple of promos and yell at a couple of people every week. So it's good to see that. Let us know what you think down below. Are you going to get the pay-per-view? I'm dying to know. Yeah. Another episode in the books. I believe it's episode 75. Once again, we want to tip our hat and say a prayer for Dan's labia. Dan, we're thinking about you. We're thinking about your labia. We hope you come back with us next week so that you can be with us. And
We're not thinking about his labia.
Dan, Lily's not thinking about your labia. And maybe you need to let her go. So besides that, a lot going on this week. Please be sure to check out Dynasty, as we will. We're going to come back next week. Matt will not be with us on next week's show, but we will have plenty of content in the meantime. So if, like Goldberg, you are a huge fan of Matt and you desperately need him to fill your hole, please be sure to check out our Wrestling with the Business channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and keep watching, and we'll keep wrestling with the business.